What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Humm Baby Baseball channel. Today, we got to talk about this situation.
Because you know why? It's a mess.
It's almost been a little bit of a trend that never happened before, at least since I've watched baseball, and that is an MLB team playing in a minor league ballpark because they have no choice. And we're talking for a long period of time, not for an exhibition game here and there, or maybe a few games because their stadium's getting renovated like the A's. I think the A's played in Las Vegas back in '96 just for a few games. It wasn't a big deal. We're talking about a long time these teams are going to be in minor league stadiums. And first time it happened was back in 2020 when the Blue Jays had to play in Buffalo for the entire year because they couldn't go into Canada and back to the US and back and forth because of the pandemic. We all remember that. I think they played a few games in Dunedin as well. But it was like a big deal. Everyone's like, oh, the field conditions, the clubhouse has got to be upgraded and it's got to be MLB standards. And that was relatively temporary, a 60-game season, a little bit in 2021 as well. Now we're talking about 3 seasons, maybe more. Back in 2020, when I heard about all this stuff about the conditions, I was like, stop being a bunch of babies. Okay, the weather, the temperature, the clubhouses, it got to be MLB standard. And I was like, bro, every minor league team, every college team, every high school team, they all play out in the elements. They all do it without multi-million-dollar clubhouses, and they do just fine. But when we're talking about 2 years, 3 years, yes, it has to be noted these are major league players. They made it to the big leagues. They got to play 81 home games, and they're in a very powerful union.
It's my union.
And these teams also want to be able to sign decent free agents. People got to want to play there. Nobody's going to want to play there if they're playing in a minor league park with very subpar clubhouses, subpar infield, subpar playing conditions. And I'm not sure anyone would want to play there anyway, even if they were able to get everything up to par, because it's still a minor league ballpark. And what makes it even worse is they got to share the stadium with another team, with a minor league team. How did this even happen?
Wait a minute. How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Apparently not.
The A's are going to be at Sutter Health Park in Sacramento, in West Sacramento. That place gets hot. It gets very hot, over 100 degrees. And again, they should be able to handle it. The Rangers did it for many years, playing at Arlington Stadium and Globe Life Park. But at least it was a major league stadium with a major league clubhouse. Luckily, in this situation, the A's knew they were going to be playing in Sacramento ahead of time, so the schedules were created so that when one team's on the road, the other's at home. It's going to be crazy throw. It's still going to be nuts. I mean, I don't know how the employee situation works. If anyone knows, let me know. But I would assume most of the employees of the River Cats would also work for the A's games, like concessions and team stores. And how is that going to work? They're going to have to move all the inventory out, bring it all back in the team store. Because normally team stores open when the team's on the road. Like when the River Cats are on the road, I can still go to the team store. But now it'll be the A's team store, or are they going to create another team store? I have no clue. It's going to be crazy, though, because they only have one big team store there in Sacramento. I'm just thinking, it's going to be crazy because they're going to have to switch everything out, the signage as well and whatnot. Everything's going to be switched out. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of hours for a lot of employees, and maybe that's good. Maybe they like that. More money for them. But over in Tampa, things are going to be even worse, even crazier. The schedules were not worked out ahead of time. So you have a single A team sharing the ballpark with the Rays. It's in Tampa. There's a ton of rainouts there. So now they're trying to mess with the Rays schedule. They're swapping out dates, which messes up not only the Rays, but also their opponent. Like the Angels, they were set to host the Rays April 7th to the 9th. During a homestand, a nice, much-needed homestand. But now they're going to Tampa instead. So the Angels are playing 11 of their first 14 games on the road because of this. Because they only have a quick 3-game homestand, and then it's all the way to the East Coast, which they weren't even going to the East Coast. Then to Texas for a bunch of games against the Astros and Rangers before they can finally get back home. And I know it's not the end of the world. They're still millionaires. They'll be fine. But it's just crazy. It's just a huge challenge. And it just begs the question, what the hell's going on? Why is this happening? Not to one team, but 2 teams. Why are teams playing in minor league stadiums all the time now? What's going on? This was just like something that couldn't happen before. Okay, for the Blue Jays, it was a pandemic, completely unexpected. Canada was being super strict. That one's a little bit understandable. But for the A's, this should have never happened. There's still a perfectly usable stadium. Maybe it's not in its prime, but I was just at the Coliseum. There's nothing wrong with it. The field is beautiful. Everything works. It's fine. Okay? It may be near the end of its life, but it's not dead yet. It's still there and it still works. Anytime another team has ever moved, there's been a stadium ready for them, even if it's a temporary home. The Astros, now correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't remember a team that had to move and play in a minor league stadium, like a literal minor league stadium, and share it with another team. The Astros, yes, they didn't have the Astrodome right away. They played at Colt Stadium, capacity 33,000. It was built to be a temporary big league stadium while they waited for the Astrodome. And yeah, it was hot, it was humid, it was miserable, there were mosquitoes, but it worked out fine as a temporary home. Even the Giants played at Seal Stadium, which had a decent capacity, 22,900, more than double these minor league stadiums, and it was intended to be a temporary home for just 2 seasons. And then the Dodgers, they played at the Coliseum, at the LA Coliseum. Clearly not an ideal baseball venue, but it had over 90,000 capacity. So I'd say it was big league size. Even the Nationals, they played at RFK Stadium, kind of like the Coliseum. It's an older stadium, a little bit past its prime, but still worked as a temporary home. Now, a big difference is, of course, those stadiums were in the new city, whereas the A's would still be playing in the old city with 1 foot out the door, but it still should have happened that way, with A's fans still having some hope that maybe something can be figured out while a stadium's being built. Tropicana was being built, and the Giants, we thought the Giants were moving, but guess what? It didn't happen. So at least you still have hope. The Giants still played at Candlestick, and at the end of 92, they were going to move, but they didn't move. Great. So the A's should still be in Oakland until a viable option exists elsewhere. They still haven't broke ground in Las Vegas, as far as I know. I don't think they've started building the stadium there. So this was botched on every level. You can blame the city, you can blame Fisher, you can blame Manfred, but at the end of the day, this should have never happened. The A's should still be in Oakland, playing at the Coliseum, until they have an actual plan other than taking over the Sacramento River Cats ballpark for 3 freaking years minimum. Sharing a ballpark with a AAA team that's not even their own affiliate. And then you got the Rays. Okay, they're not totally at fault because the hurricane destroyed their ballpark, but they've had years to sort out the stadium problem. It's been a problem for years. They won't even have an all-star game at Tropicana. They won't even have an all-star game. Well, now they definitely won't. But there have been numerous rumors, speculation about a new ballpark in Tampa Bay, and it never happens in the Tampa Bay area, whether it be Tampa or St. Petersburg. But everyone's trying to make their own money. No one wants to work together for a singular goal. Year after year, they talk, but, it's just this.
Guys are just talking. Talking la 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 like this is business as usual. It's not.
No stadium plan comes to fruition, just a bunch of renderings. But we get nothing over there in the Tampa Bay area. And they keep playing at Tropicana, which supposedly can withstand any hurricane. Yeah, that really worked out pretty well. And so, again, blame the Rays, blame the politicians, blame Manfred, whoever you blame, they're all to blame. Like, they couldn't get it done. And now they won't even repair the stadium in a timely fashion, probably not at all, because they're like, well, we're moving anyway. Well, you don't have a stadium. You can't figure it out. So you might as well repair the stadium, and I believe it's going to cost around $55 million, which is a lot. But there are individual players getting paid damn near $55 million. If you can pay a single player that much, and I know the Rays don't, but I'm just saying, you would think somehow they could get that money and get that stadium repaired, so that the Rays could be back at least by 2026. I would have thought they could repair it by 2025. Clearly not. They would have had to start right away. And I know there was a lot of damage, not just with the roof, but electrical damage, water damage. The field is destroyed, press boxes, the seats. I mean, it's a mess. If you can't get it fixed by 25, get it fixed by 26. That's the slogan. Let's get it trending. Get it fixed for 26. But at the end of the day, it's been over a month and no one's fixing it. It's a complete disaster, a complete mess. It's been a mess in Oakland and in Tampa Bay. And this is stuff that's never happened before. 2 teams playing in a minor league stadium, one with a damaged stadium no one is repairing, no new stadiums being built, and then you got the other who say they're going to Las Vegas, but again, no stadium, ground not broken as far as I know. MLB wants to expand. I'm not for expansion at this point in time because, first of all, like Manfred said, they can't even consider expansion until this situation with the A's and Rays is handled. And even then, isn't 30 teams enough? The more teams you have, the tougher it is to make the World Series because there's just more teams in the mix and it waters down the talent. I feel like 30 is more than enough. Like, what are we going to do? 32, 34, 36, 40? Just keep expanding? I mean, at some point we have to say this is it, right? So for me, 30 is good. But let me know your thoughts on expansion. Let me know your thoughts on the Rays. Let me know your thoughts on the A's. And like, this should not be happening. This is unacceptable. And as far as the Rays, they should have been in a new stadium by now. They knew that stadium was not feasible because they wouldn't even have an all-star game there. And they would not even consider expansion until the Rays figured it out. And they failed to. And they got hit. The baseball god said, boom, take that stadium out. And here we are. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe. We'll talk to you in the next one.